This presentation will give you a brief introduction to chant melodies that are created from pre-existing melodies by means of a process called centonization. There are two primary ways in which chants are composed by taking material from pre-existing chants. One of these ways results in a chant called a melody type. In this case, an entire melody is taken from one chant and fitted with new words. The melody will invariably be edited slightly to accommodate the nuances of the different text, but essentially it is preserved in its entirety. Take a look at the tracks of Mode 8 that are sung during the Easter Vigil. These are all melody types. They will give you a good set of examples that will make this genre clear. The other way in which chants are composed by taking material from already existing chants is called centonization. This process of centonization is the focus of this short presentation. Centonization is the process of creating a melody by fitting together its pieces from a body of common phrases. Let me say that again. Centonization is the process of creating a melody using material from a common set of phrases. Perhaps the best example of this process of centonization can be found in the graduals, and because there are about 50 graduals in Mode 5, we'll look at a few of these Mode 5 graduals to demonstrate the process. Take a look at these first two phrases of the gradual Misit Dominus. The first phrase begins with reiterated notes on the final Fa, moves up a third, and then concludes with a long melisma on the first syllable of Dominus and a simple cadence. The second phrase begins with a lovely movement on the word verbum that develops around La, Fa, and Sol. The second half of the phrase develops around the same three pitches before settling on the final Fa. Now compare these two phrases to the first two phrases of the gradual Ecce Sacerdos. Now be careful to note that the clef for each gradual is different. The second melody may appear to be a transposition of the first, but it is not. The melodies for the first phrases of each of these graduals are nearly identical to each other. They have only slight modifications to accommodate the different nuances of their texts. The second phrases are also nearly identical. Most of these phrases consist of identical material. The only differences come in the beginning of the phrase, where the melody for Ecce Sacerdos adds 3 notes to accommodate 3 additional syllables in the text, and in the cadences, each of which is a slightly different ornamentation of the same melodic movement. Now take a look at the final phrase of Misit Dominus and compare it to the final phrase of the gradual Diffusa Est. Again, they are nearly identical. The ends of the phrases are exact duplicates. The beginnings of the phrases have slight modifications or adjustments to accommodate the nuances of the different texts. The body of common phrases is both large and somewhat complex. There are phrases that are commonly used in the beginnings of the melodies. Others are used typically for the cadences of the refrain or the respond. Some are used typically to begin the verses of the gradual, while others are more commonly used for the internal phrases of the verses, and others yet are more commonly found in the final cadences. Many phrases will have multiple options for the endings of the phrase, such as we saw in the second phrases of the graduals Misit Dominus and Ecce Sacerdos. If you are interested in exploring this topic in more depth, one of the best summaries of the application of these various common phrases can be found in the classic text, Gregorian Chant by Willy Apel. In this text, the different phrases are labeled and laid out in tables showing their different applications in the melodies. You could also simply survey all the graduals of a given mode and you will quickly see the process at work. Of course, feel free to review the video and pause where you need to spend more time studying the examples.